So my name is Claudia Vasco, and I'm the regional business unit leader for Bosch eBike Systems North America. And at the moment I'm here in Sedona at the Great Magura Press Camp. It's the second time that we are here to meet various editors to talk about our product. But maybe I start to talk a little bit about Bosch and Bosch eBike Systems. So in 2009, Bosch officially decided to enter the market. And just 1 year later, we were able to introduce our first generation to the European market. We launched our product during Eurobike 2010 for model year 2011, already with about 14 customers. And last year we decided to enter the North American market to expand our business. And we just recently built up our headquarter in Irvine. And since then we are collaborating with various global customers. We started our business here in the US with Felt, with Haibike and Lapierre. We will show you some models later. And for this year, we are very excited that we could expand our customer base. So very important brands like Trek, like Cannondale, like KTM, like Scott, they will introduce Bosch-equipped e-bikes to the North American market, to the US and to the Canadian market. So looking back maybe to the European market, as I mentioned, we introduced the model year 11 system, and just 1 year later we became the market leader in this category. And now more than 50 huge brands are using our system. And looking back to our history of Bosch, which is really characterized by transforming transportation for more than 100 years, we have the same vision now for the North American market. So our dream or our vision is really to reinvigorate the stagnant bicycle market here. And by approaching two very important segments, which are first of all the commuting segment, and second the recreational segment. And so e-mountain bikes, they are coming, or they already have arrived even in the US market. This is a huge category back in Europe, where we already have 100% dedicated e-bike races. But it will be a huge segment for the US market as well. And it really offers a great opportunity because the target audience are young people, are active people. So it is a huge opportunity for dealers to embrace new younger people and to increase their target audience. So we really think with e-mountain bikes, we really can change the mode of transportation, and we will make this category even big here in the US. We started the collaboration with Xtracycle a couple of months ago to equip their Edge Runner with our system, and it is just great. It fits perfectly in our vision to transform the mode of transportation. You don't take the car anymore to do your errands or to go shopping or to bring your kids to the school. You just take the cargo bike, and Xtracycle introduced a great product to the market. And also what you can see here behind me, Felt, this is the outfitter, Felt just launched this wonderful product for model year 15. And you can see here, maybe just as a quick introduction, you can see here the main components of our Bosch system. So this is the Bosch drive unit, and this gives you, in addition to your human power, that means you really have to pedal, it gives you additional power out of the motor, and it supports you up to 20 miles per hour. And then we have here the power pack, the battery, which is here the frame style version. There's another version which is available, which is a more erect-based version if you have wave frames, for example. And then, which is very important, this is the display, the so-called Intuvia. And you operate the Intuvia with this remote. You can change between 4 different assistance levels, and this information button will guide you through the menu, where we provide important data such as remaining range and all those typical information which you usually get from an odometer.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Weinert, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager at Bosch eBike Systems North America. The purpose of my talk today is to explain to you, Pete, and your audience how this technology came to be. The Bosch e-bike system, which you see on this bike, and you also see the key components on this poster. The key components being the drive unit, the power pack, and the Intuvia. First question for you, Pete. Can you guess when development on the Bosch e-bike system actually began? Which decade?
2000s?
Not the 2000s, a little bit earlier. It was actually the 80s. The 1880s. The 1880s, that's when the first ingredient of the Bosch e-bike system development started. Because back then, Robert Bosch, one man on two wheels, and he had a great vision. His vision was to transform the automobile industry. And why I say one man, two wheels, he and his colleagues invented the magneto, which is the modern day alternator. And he sold this device to various auto companies on a bicycle. So he actually started on a bicycle, and he probably didn't realize that it would come to this. But back then, he invented the magneto, which is a rotating electric machine, very similar to the motor that you see here. And today, Bosch makes over 100 million rotating electric machines. This is electric motors, alternators. We make them for some of the greatest cars in the world, and one of which, the electric power steering motor, you will find in our drive unit. The exact one that's produced in Miskolc, Hungary, and is sold to automotive companies, we use in our drive unit. Second ingredient. Fast forward now from the 1880s to the 1960s. Okay, 1960s, Silicon Valley is just getting off its feet, and the Bosch company, much bigger now, they realized the importance of computers and semiconductors, and so they start developing their own microcontrollers, their own semiconductors, and basically engine management systems for cars. So anyway, in the 60s we started developing these components, and today a lot of these components which you see here are produced in the outskirts of Stuttgart, Germany. Some of these same components are used on cars, and we repurpose them for our e-bike system. That was ingredient number 2. Ingredient number 3, that came a couple decades later, a few decades later. You may know that Bosch has a power tools business. The power tools business started in the 1930s, but in the 80s, Bosch realized for power tools to be really effective, they need to be mobile, and they need to be more powerful and lightweight. And that's when we started developing rechargeable battery packs. The first battery pack was developed in the 80s, and in the 2000s, we developed our first lithium-ion battery pack. And so today, you'll see in our e-bike system, this is our power pack, the lithium-ion battery pack. It uses the same technology that we use in our power tools business. Take these 3 ingredients together, and that's the Bosch e-bike system. Now, it took more ingenuity and innovation. It took 2 engineers, 2 very clever engineers, and 1 very talented saleswoman, who you just heard from. They realized this back in 2009. We've got these 3 great technologies. Let's put it all together and develop an e-bike system. And that's what they did. And today, it's the top-selling system in Europe. And it's coming to America. It's here, and we expect really promising growth. Okay, I'd like to explain in a little more detail how it is that the Bosch e-bike system, how it makes you feel like, some people say you have a tailwind pushing you as you ride. We call it the electric tailwind effect. And I want to explain how we do that. We do that with a very sophisticated microcontroller with a fast processor, and we do it with 3 sensors. The first sensor is a torque sensor, which we also get from our automotive business, which senses your pedal force. Second sensor is a cadence sensor, which measures how fast you're pedaling. And the third sensor is the speed sensor, which is on the wheel, and it measures how fast you're going. We measure these three sensors 1,000 times per second to give you precisely the amount of power you need, so you don't feel it's jerky and you feel a very smooth ramp up of power. And with this technology taken from our automotive business, what's so special and unique about it is it makes an e-bike feel like a bicycle. And it also makes you, the user, feel like you're 20 years younger. And I think that's what's really special about this technology. Okay, Pete, another strong feature of the Bosch e-bike system is it gives the e-bike an incredible range. If you're in eco mode, depending on your driving conditions, 50 to 100 miles, which I think is pretty impressive. And the reason why we're able to get great range, one reason is we've got a power pack with 400 watt hours in a very lightweight size, 5.5 pounds. But the other key reason is we use this electricity very efficiently. And the way that we do that is through the mid-drive concept. The thing that's really special about the mid-drive concept is the motor speed is tied to your cadence. Therefore, the motor speed is typically spinning in its highest efficiency range. So when you're pedaling between 60 and 80 RPM, that's the highest efficiency range of the motor. The two are linked. The motor speed is linked to your cadence. Now, on a hub drive, the reason why we didn't do the hub drive, there are several advantages of the mid-drive, but we did not do the hub drive because of this efficiency reason. The hub drive, the motor speed is actually tied to the wheel speed. So when you're going uphill and a lot of load, you're putting a lot of torque on that motor, that's its least efficient point. So you're converting all this electricity in the battery, you're actually turning it into heat and heating up the motor rather than turning it into forward motion for you. And so you can see here in our drive unit, we have this electric motor. The motor that I mentioned, this is used in electric power steering for cars. And there's a fixed gear ratio between here and the pedals. And 60 to 80 RPM cadence, that corresponds to the highest efficiency range of this motor. And so this motor doesn't heat up like hub motors. Okay, Pete. Earlier I mentioned that one of the great things about the Bosch system is it makes an e-bike feel like a bike. The other great thing about it is the Bosch system, the key components, they can be installed on many different types of bikes, from really hardcore downhill riding to urban commuting. And I wanted to show you the assortment that we have here in Sedona at Magura Press Camp. Let's start it off with Felt's lineup. We have the dually, which is great for mountain trails. People have been taking out the last few days and going on some great rides. We also have the outfitter, and this is for the great outdoorsman or woman in you. It can carry a lot of cargo. It's got lights, and by the way, all these systems, all these e-bikes use the same Bosch performance line system. This is the Felt outfitter. Next, we have something similar to the outfitter, different paint job, different specs. This is the Lebowski. Also great for riding in snow, riding on sand. Next, I wanted to introduce Haibike's lineup. Haibike's lineup, we'll start with the most hardcore for the trail riding. This is the AMT, All Mountain RX, with dual suspension. Then we have the Xduro Full 7 RX, which also has the dual suspension. Then next we have the Xduro Trekking RX. And as you can see from the spec and the tires and the shocks. This is more for urban commuter or somebody that wants to do some adventure riding, so long distance trekking, mostly on pavement. And this is the particular model, the X-Duro Trekking, that there's a couple, I believe they're from England, and they're trying to set the world's record for long distance bicycle riding. Finally, in the Haibike portfolio, we have their fastest model. This is the Super Race. And the Super Race is special because it actually has the Bosch Performance Line speed system. Speed system is slightly different than the Performance Line system because of the top motor assist speed. Instead of 20 miles per hour, it's 28 miles per hour. And then finally, we have Cube. This is a German brand, and Cube began selling e-bikes in Canada last year. And they have quite a wide range of bikes, and what you see here is the hardtail reaction hybrid. Okay, Pete, so now I'd like to introduce to you the newest thing in our portfolio. We call it eShift. Basically, it's automatic transmission for bikes. And we think this is going to be a game changer because a lot of people out there are either not comfortable shifting, don't know how to shift properly, or just want to focus more on the ride and being safe on the road or just enjoying the beautiful scenery rather than shift. And so I think this technology on our system will open up the e-bike market to a much wider part of the population. Now let me explain to you how it works. So Pete, another question for you. Do you notice anything missing from the front half of this bike?
Something's missing. It looks strange.
You might, yeah.
There's something missing right here.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. This bike, although it has this Nuvinci H-Sync continuously variable transmission, which is typically shifted using a wrist actuated shifter, that's gone. You have no gear shifter, no way to shift gears. So how does this bike shift gears? Well, let me show you. Actually, we use a completely different concept than gear shifting. And the concept is the rider sets their cadence and off they go. We call it set it and forget it. This is the Nuvinci eShift system. And once you set a comfortable cadence for yourself, the system detects whether you're going uphill or downhill and whether it needs to shift the H-Sync drive, which is a continuously variable transmission. So infinite amount of gear steps from a low range to a high range. It shifts for you. So as you ride, doesn't matter if you're going uphill or downhill, fast or slow, you will always be pedaling in the cadence that you request. Okay, and sometimes you may think, oh, I want to pedal a little bit faster. And it's very simple. You just press plus. You can press it once for little steps. You can hold it down to make big steps and go back down again. And you can go all the way from at a low of 30 to a high of around 120. Okay, and then once let's say you want to select your power assist mode, you just get out of the Nuvinci cadence mode and you can again use this thumb remote control to select your power assist from turbo to eco, like all of our electric bikes. The range feature is a feature on all of our bikes, all of our electric bike systems. And the way it works is, let's go to select range. You'll notice that depending on which power assist mode you're in, you'll report a different range. In eco, longest range, lowest assist. In turbo, highest assist, lowest range. But we have a special feature on this range that I wanted to talk about. This is a continuously adaptable range indicator. What I mean by that is, let's say you're riding uphill on trails like this, and very steep. Okay, then the range indicator will actually decrease, because if it thinks you're going to be continuing on this very mountainous trail, then you're not going to get as much battery range. However, if let's say you get off the hill and then you just keep going level for, let's say, a couple miles, it records your last couple miles of riding, how quickly you're draining the battery, and it will then adjust your range higher, because it sees, okay, you're back on level ground, your range is actually higher than previously estimated. So it's a continuously updated estimate of your range to give you as much security of how many more miles you can ride.
My name is David Cabanban. I am a technical product specialist here at Bosch eBike Systems. I'm responsible and part of a team of individuals that are going to be teaching about our system to dealers and OEMs. So we're working with a network of what we call certified dealers to provide service to our customers. As this starts to expand, we're going to expand our dealer network, so there will be service throughout North America, and we will be expanding our team as we grow with our OEMs. Working with our OEMs, we also help them understand the system, provide them with technical data so that they can build the best electric bikes on the market. And I think that everyone will be very surprised at the number of retailers that are going to be carrying the Bosch equipped system in the very near future. So in the United States, we have partnered with Magura USA to be our service partner. What our service partner does for us is they field the telephone calls from the dealers and also consumers and help our dealers with parts. They're our logistics partner for all replacement parts and warranty parts. And we are also utilizing their services to train the dealers at their locations currently. We're going to be moving on to a slightly different service program very shortly, so I'm sure that our dealer networks will be very surprised and very happy with what we're going to be putting together in the very near future. So in addition to Magura in the United States, we've also partnered with Live to Play Sports in Canada. So we will be working with them out of their Toronto office as well as their Vancouver office to serve all of our new dealers in Canada. We started that relationship in April, and of course, as we get up to speed and get more and more OEMs involved in Canada, we're going to have our service network in Canada also.
So as I already mentioned, we started our business in the US together with Felt, Haibike and Lapierre, and there are several new brands which will offer Bosch-equipped e-bikes for the North American market for model year 16, and amongst those are Cannondale and Trek and Scott and KTM and Norco for the Canadian market as well. You can find all those kind of information on our website, which is Bosch, BOSCH-ebike.com. You find all the brands, they are listed there. You find a dealer locator where you can get information where the closest dealer is, where you can purchase an e-bike. And I would like to mention that we are on Instagram as well, which is Bosch eBike USA.